Long-Term Care Act. And actually, I'm going through something similar down here in California. My uncle, who is not doing very well, we're looking at long-term care facilities. And on the West Coast, it's about $10,000 a month. Now, why is it so expensive? I do not know. But what's happening is the state of Washington is enacting a tax on individuals who are W-2 employee to actually be taxed to get their own long-term care through the state. And everybody I'm talking to, even down here in California, is saying this is a not so good option for the consumer out there, for the taxpayer. And so it is imperative that we pay attention tonight to this information, because this could save you many headaches, many heartaches, and many thousands of dollars in unnecessary expenses in case something happens to you. A little bit about me, where I'm coming from. I've actually been in our company now for 23 years, specializing in pre and post-retirement strategies, along with life insurance and long-term care strategies. So I want to emphasize to you, the consumer, the guest out here today, that it's very, very important for you to pay close attention tonight. I promise you it will be informative, and also be a little bit, it will not be boring. Let's just say that. It's very important. Make sure you pay close attention. All right, let's get to it here real quick. Appreciate everybody getting on here. This is myself and the lovely Mary Jane, and I appreciate Mary Jane being in the background here, taking care of the connections along with the feedback sheets. But again, I've been in business now for 23 years, and this tax in the state of Washington that is being enacted is very, very restrictive, very cumbersome as well, and not very beneficial for most people. And I'm going to go over that here right now and why. All right. So the Washington Cares Fund, by the way, this tax has been renamed and rebranded many times over the past 6 months. Okay. They're trying to get it to where it's a little bit easier for the taxpayer to swallow. All right. It's a hard pill to swallow, this tax. So they're trying to make it look as good as possible for many different reasons. Okay. Now, long-term care is a very important subject in all of our conversations right now, because most of us are at the age where we are realizing we are not immortal, and as sooner or later, we're going to need some help as we grow older. They say that 90% of us at one time or another is going to need some sort of long-term care, whether it's 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year or longer. So it is very, very important here. And the Washington state has come up with this tax with good intentions, let's just say that, but with potentially disastrous results. Okay, what is the CARES Fund? It's the first of the kind in its nation. All right, Washington is kind of the spearhead on this, and they are definitely putting out this tax as the first in the whole country. But there are many states who are following suit, including Oregon and California. When I told a couple of my California clients here about this tax, they were not very happy about it, because they know that sooner rather than later, California is going to be not too far behind with this tax. Signed by the governor, Jay Inslee, on 7/28/2019. Here's the codes: HD 1087-209-20. RCW 50B.04. This is the legalese here for you to be able to look it up on your own to see how this thing works. It is designed, this tax, this CARES Fund, to reduce the burden of Medicaid, to fund long-term care services, okay, support for family members providing care, and function as a state-funded via a mandatory payroll tax long-term care trust, okay? What is long-term care? Short-term care is a type of treatment that is defined by outcome. For example, injury, like a broken leg, bad hip, whatever it is, can be considered short-term care, which is a few days to a few months. Long-term care is a type of treatment for those suffering from chronic disease, chronic debilitating medical condition, something that they cannot take care of themselves on a daily basis, something that's chronic. For example, suffering from a stroke may require, extended long-term care or permanent long-term care. Okay. And so this is not very fun to talk about, but it's a conversation we all must have. Long-term care, when relating to activities of daily living, or ADLs, traditionally there are 6 ADLs that determine somebody needing long-term care. All right, bathing, dressing, grooming, toileting, eating, and moving around. Okay, those are some of the things that we take for granted, of course, but as we get older, we may not be able to do. And there's a lot of people in that age group that aren't able to do it. Right now, my uncle is not able to do any of these things. Okay, he's not able to take care of himself. He's cognitive and he's aware and he's talking, he's still joking around, but he is not able to do any of these things by himself any longer. And so we're going through this very same thing right now. All right. 70% of the people over the age of 65 will need some form of long-term care in their lifetimes. Actually, that number is closer to 90% of what I've read. Okay, but according to the website for the CARES Fund, this is what they're saying on the website. So it's getting really, really scary out there, folks, for a lot of people, because long-term care can financially devastate an older couple who have to pay for these things. Okay, and so people are looking for answers. People are looking for ways to be able to take care of themselves and also make sure that they are not burdened in their later years. All right, how does the CARES Fund, this Washington State CARES Fund, work? It works like Social Security. Okay. Okay, all right. Everybody pays based on income. However, everybody receives the same benefit. Okay. So a lot of people, especially in Washington, especially in King County, where the average income is way over $110,000 a year, a lot of people are starting to worry. Is there going to be a 0.58% mandatory payroll tax for all W-2 workers, okay? Including the 18-year-old getting a job at McDonald's, okay? Including the 25-year-old starting out in their career, okay? 0.58% mandatory payroll tax for all W-2 workers. So, example, $100,000 a year income equals $580 annual for $36,500 of long-term care coverage. $20,000 a year is $116 annual. Okay, but they get the same $36,500 benefit. Okay. So they're capping you on the benefit, but not capping you on the tax. All right. It's scheduled to start January 1st, 2022. The total lifetime benefit is only $36,500 total. Once again, I was telling you about my uncle down here in California and the options that we are seeing, even on the cheap side, is minimum $8,000 a month to properly take care of him. Okay? So $36,500 total lifetime benefit is not really that much, especially when they don't cap you on the tax they're collecting for your benefit, but they are capping you on the benefit itself. All right? The total benefit does not increase, but there's no cap on the tax, as I've mentioned a couple of times now. So a lot of people don't like this feature whatsoever. Okay? Payroll tax continues after the cumulative benefit amount is reached. So again, they don't cap you on the tax. And the first benefits are available January 1st, 2025. So there is a delay on when you can actually collect these benefits once you're enrolled in the tax and enrolled in the CARES Fund. There's a delay of receiving this benefit minimum 4 years. Okay? How does it work continued? There are several exemptions. People asking, well, how can I get exemption? What exemptions are out there? All right. federally recognized tribes, okay, for Native American tribes. People filing 1099, so small business owners or real estate agents or financial services agents, small business owners, 1099. Okay, people currently retired, they don't have to pay into this tax. People with private long-term care insurance that has to be in force before November 1st of this year, 2021. So the only way for somebody who doesn't fit the first three, if they want to get number 4, they have to have it in force by November 1st, 2021. Okay? Everybody in the above list, other than retired people, can make a one-time opt-in for the tax. So if you are a small business owner, or you're in a tribe, or you already have long-term care, you can opt in to pay this tax. Okay, but after I teach people about this tax, most people don't want to opt in. They're all looking to opt out as fast as they possibly can. Okay, residents in other states who earn an income in Washington State will be subject to the tax, but will not be eligible to receive benefits unless they actually move to Washington. So every state has this, including Washington, where you have people who live outside the state, but they're earning an income inside Washington by some sort of business or employment, scenario that they have, and they're even if they're W-2, they're earning a W-2 from a company that's in Washington State. Okay, they can be subject to that tax, but they cannot collect. They cannot receive benefits unless they actually move to Washington. All right. Washington residents who move out of the state for 5 or more years actually forfeit, okay? They forfeit their benefits and premiums paid into this CARES fund. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you've been taxed 50, 60, 70,000, let's say, and then you decide to move to Idaho or to California or to Nevada or Texas or Utah, wherever, Alaska, and you decide to move. Every dime of money, every dollar that has been taxed for this Washington CARES Fund, if you leave for more than 5 years, you forfeit every dollar. It goes back into the pot. The state confiscates it. And let's say you want to move back to Washington after you move out for 5 years, you have to start your benefit at 0 all over. Okay? Very cumbersome, very restrictive. All right. By the numbers, let's look at it here by the numbers. A lot of people say, well, how bad is it? Well, let's look at the numbers here real quick. Currently, Washington State will spend approximately $4 billion a year on Medicaid by 2030. $4 billion in the next 9 years. Okay? Per year. Washington State will spend that much. This is how many older folks are coming through the pipeline right now. They're going to need these services. Okay? By 2030, the CARES Fund is projected to save approximately $12 million per year. Okay? $12 million per year, or only 0.31% of the Medicaid budget. Okay? So the CARES Fund, Washington State will spend approximately $4 billion on Medicaid, long-term care, but the CARES Fund is only projected to save $12 million. $12 million versus $4 billion is literally a drop in the bucket. Okay? Now, the administrative costs to run the CARES Fund in 2030 will be approximately $89 million. So they're spending $89 million to save $12 million. Okay? Now, let me ask you a question. What does that tell you? That tells even somebody on the elementary level, that tells them that the state really doesn't plan on the individual taxpayer enrolled in this tax to actually use the benefit. They plan on that person forfeiting their benefit by either moving, okay, or dying before they get the long-term care benefits. Okay. So it's pretty crazy. Again, they're going to spend $89 million to save $12 million. So the numbers are not adding up very well. The Washington Cares Fund is expected to collect approximately $1 billion per year in taxes and will save Washington State approximately $12 million a year by diverting the cost of Medicaid and putting that burden on the taxpayer instead. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to save Medicaid, but they're putting the burden on all of us as W-2 employees to pay for it instead. Okay? And again, you don't get to keep it if you move. And the benefit's only $36,500. But they cap you on benefit, but they don't cap you on the tax. Follow me some more here. Let's look at it. Continue. To receive benefits, you must have contributed at least 10 years without a break of 5 or more years, or 3 of the past 6 years you have a need for assistance. Work a minimum of 500 hours per year, all right, to receive benefits. Again, even though, let's say you're working part-time, or let's say somebody else is working part-time, they're on a W-2. They'll be enrolled in this tax, but they're not doing these things. They don't get to actually have the benefit of this tax. And if you have 3 out of 10 activities of daily living to qualify, so let's say you need 3 out of these 10 to qualify to receive benefits, including medication management, personal hygiene, eating, toileting, transferring, body care, bathing, mobility, dressing, and cognitive impairment. Okay? So if you're adding this up, it's not looking very good. Now, let's look at some more bad news, shall we? Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money for quality long-term care. All right. In 2020, a homemaker service, long-term care service, is $80,000 a year. Home health aid is $80,000 a year. Adult daycare is $24,000 a year. Assisted living facility is $81,000 a year. A semi-private room in 2020 is $127,000. For a private room, it's $143,000 a year in long-term care. Okay, a lot of people I'm talking to, they live by themselves, or they haven't had to have roommates since college. Okay, and as they grow older, they don't like the fact that most likely they're going to have a roommate for long-term care if they have to go into a facility. All right, if anybody's ever visited somebody in a long-term care facility or even a hospital room where they're sharing a room with somebody else, it's not a very good scenario to be in. Okay. In 2030, the same care for assisted living facilities is $108,000, $81,000. For a private room is $192,000 in 2030. 2040, $259,000. In 2050, $348,000. Okay. So you see how expensive it can be for somebody who's needing long-term care. All right. Get this. Is the CARES Fund a good deal? Let's look and see. Approximately 75% of state W-2 wage earners could get better coverage for less from the private market. So 75% of state W-2 wage earners could get better coverage for less from the private market. All right. This is from the outside actuarial firm contracted by the state to review the CARES Fund. Okay. This assessment was based solely on price, not on benefits, but on price alone. Okay. The CARES Fund could not provide the following benefits that private long-term coverage can. Affordability, options. These are the options for you to consider during getting private long-term care. Portability outside of Washington, coverage outside the United States, inflation greater or less than the consumer price index, elimination period, ability to cover spouses, ability to cover retirees and non-working applicants, and so private long-term care policy can help a person who's retired and can't enroll in tax, okay, or works part-time or not private long-term care. There's return premium for private long-term care. If you don't use it, you actually get premium back. There's shared care, there's partial protection, and many more. Okay? The total lifetime benefit is $6,500 with the care fund does not increase automatically, but get this. Look at this here really quick. This is going to make some of you guys mad. The daily benefit of $100 will increase rate no greater than the Washington Consumer Price Index, and then each year, a First Council will vote whether to increase or decrease the benefit to assure solvency. Folks, this 8-person council could actually reduce benefits from $36,500 to even less. Meanwhile, they're still taxing all of us more to potentially get less benefits. Okay? So again, a lot of people say this was created with the best of intentions, but it has potential for disastrous results. Okay? Now, where did the care fund come from? Okay? Formerly known as the Washington State Long-Term Care Trust Act. This tax was not voted on. Okay? Was not voted on. During our election in November 2019, at vote number 20 stated, the legislature imposed without a vote of the people an additional wage premium for long-term care services costing an indeterminate amount in its first 10 years for government spending. So on the general election, that year's vote, November 2019, should this have to be repealed or maintained? Look at this. Look what people said. Every county except King County voted to repeal the tax. 8 out of 49 counties. And in the other type of election, a downvote by the majority of the people would actually just get it out. Just be done with it. Get this. The state legislatures responded to the vote by stating this vote changes nothing. So what they're saying is we have to have this whether we want it or not. Okay? A lot of people I'm talking to are very upset with this. But there are options. Okay, I'm going to get options. Now, there's 5 long-term care options for opting out and getting your own long-term care and opting out of this very seemingly so horrendous Washington Care Act. You get a standalone long-term care policy. Standalone means it's just long-term care, and that's it. That's all you use it for. Okay? You get standalone long-term care with lump sum or payment over short time, and usually a payment plan over a 10-year option. Okay? There's a medical exam needed to make sure that the individual applying is medically able to get long-term care. They're not already needing long-term care. You can actually opt to purchase an annuity with a long-term care rider. Allianz, one of our main carriers, has that allows the person to invest in product. And if they don't use long-term care, they use it for purposes that it's there for long-term care and growth. Okay? But this one here is lump sum only, just one-time payment, one-time investment. There's no medical plan for this annuity with long-term care rider. Also, there's permanent life insurance with long-term care rider. Okay, so somebody can actually get a long-term care policy within a permanent life insurance policy, which actually helps eliminate multiple issues with just one product. Okay, it takes care of multiple potential problems with just one product. Okay, this one here also you can do lump sum or monthly payments over a lifetime. There's potential for no medical exam depending how healthy you are. All right. And also with annuity and permanent life insurance, if you don't end up using it for long-term care, you could use the annuity with long-term care rider or the life insurance policy with long-term care rider as retirement supplements. Okay. Now, some people say, well, Tatiana, I have long-term care through my work at Microsoft or Boeing or wherever. There's a couple of employers, big employers, that is offering long-term care through their jobs. Okay. But something needs to be considered. Workplace or group long-term care coverage will very much likely work like workplace or group health insurance coverage. Once the employee is no longer working at their job offering the long-term care coverage, the coverage will no longer be enforced and the employee will be enrolled in the state program unable to opt out. So somebody could get workplace long-term care, group coverage. Somebody could get workplace health insurance or even life insurance coverage at work. But once they're no longer employed at that job, 9 times out of 10, that individual ends up losing those benefits, will have to actually rely on either private benefit or be opted into the tax. Okay, so if you have workplace coverage, I encourage you not to rely just on workplace coverage. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen people who relied on workplace coverage, then they get laid off and they're unable to get coverage after that. Okay, so be very wary about that, please. Thank you for attending. Okay, I just went over a bunch of information and a bunch of stuff that we've been talking about, okay, that we absolutely need to make sure that we're letting everybody know, including you as the potential client. Okay, this information is very important. If you were invited to this seminar, hopefully you got a lot of information. Hopefully I didn't put you to sleep with it, okay, because it is very important for you to pay attention. I encourage you to fill out the form in the chat box. Okay? There's a little chat box here. Also, the person who invited you can actually send you the electronic form for any kind of feedback. I encourage you to fill out that form, talk to the person who invited you, make sure on that form you let us know who invited you, and that way you can get a no obligation review of your options. There's no obligation, there's nothing to buy. I encourage you to get a no obligation review of your current status so that way you could determine what kind of product you may need. Folks, we are not here to sell you anything. We're here to educate. We're here to give you all of your options and then help you choose which way you want to go, if you want to go any way with us at all. It's not required for you to become a client by you sitting down with us, but I do encourage you to sit down with us, and there's no obligation and no charge. It's complimentary to sit down with us. I encourage you to do exactly that. We'll be having this seminar series every 2 weeks until November 1st. Every 2 weeks till November 1st, because we feel it's very important for the consumer and the taxpayer in the state of Washington to know what their options are. I appreciate your time here tonight. I look forward to talking to you. And by the way, licensed agents, we have a training tonight at 7 o'clock. I highly encourage you to be on that training. If you're a guest and you'd like to know more maybe about our opportunity of working with us, I encourage you to inquire about that as well. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your time and have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Thank you.